Hello friends, Tom Downey here for NBA Now, here to chat some NBA draft. We're going to focus in on the latest NBA draft rumors here with the draft rapidly approaching and just a few days away now. One of the big rumors continues to center on what is going to happen with the number 4 overall pick. Now it is with the New Orleans Pelicans. 2 teams have emerged, according to reports out of New Orleans, of being interested in that number 4 overall selection. The Bulls and the Suns. Both teams, by the way, have an interest in point guard Darius Garland and maybe Coby White to some extent too. Now, this trade could look a little bit like what the Hawks and Mavs did last year. Pelicans trade down a couple spots, still get a player that they want, and acquire a future protected first-round pick. And it's nowhere that it's the Bulls and the Suns, because this is the draft order from 4 to 8. The Pelicans at 4, the Cleveland Cavaliers at 5, who could go point guard, even though they took Colin Sexton last year. They could go with more of a 2-guard lineup on that front. The Suns and then the Bulls, with both the Suns and Bulls needing a point guard. It makes sense to try and leapfrog if you're the Bulls, the Suns, and the Cavs, or if the Suns, make sure you acquire the point guard that you want. And that point guard appears to be Darius Garland, who it was going to be the 4th pick had the Lakers kept that selection. Of course, they did not. Only played in 5 games, if you know, because of a torn meniscus, but a very solid point guard. Frankly, I think if there's a consensus, I know there's disagreements there, Garland probably wins the plurality of the votes for who is the 4th best player in this year's lineup. And for the Suns, look, their need at point guard is very, very obvious. D'Anthony Melton is the de facto starter, I guess, right now. It's not really a true-on starter there. Josh Jackson, of course, played plenty for the Suns, although he wasn't as good as hoped last season. They need someone to help out Devin Booker there. They have DeAndre Ayton. They have plenty of other wing options. They don't have a true point guard. Darius Garland would be that guy. And then for the Chicago Bulls, they don't believe in Chris Dunn at all, and the backup point guard options basically don't exist there either. So for both of those teams, they desperately need a point guard, and this is obviously the range in which Darius Garland will go. His pre-draft workouts are a very clear indication of that. Met with the Knicks, met with the Lakers, who then had the number 4th overall pick. Of course, now they don't. Met with the Cavs, Suns, and Bulls. The Knicks aren't going to take him at 3, but there's your range, in that 4 to 7 range, probably even in that 4 to 6 range for Darius Garland. So if it comes down to the Bulls and the Suns, which team needs him more? Type B for the Bulls, S for the Suns. If you think neither team needs Darius Garland, well, I guess just go ahead and type in BS instead. Now, as for the Pelicans, there's been some buzz they could go point guard, but the latest rumor, and this I'll make note, comes from a Suns reporter, so take that for what it is worth, is that the Pelicans actually prefer Coby White over Darius Garland as the pick if they keep the number 4 selection. Now, White can play point guard or shooting guard. I like him quite a bit. I actually don't believe this at all. Number 1, if you're going to go point guard and you're the Pelicans, Coby White's play style, I think, is a little bit too similar to Jrue Holiday in the sense that they both operate best as combo guards. And, oh, by the way, the Pelicans also happen to have Coby. They already have Lonzo Ball, and they happen to have Jrue Holiday. So unless they're going to move one of those players in the near future, be it this year or next year, does it make sense to trade away and use that 4th pick on a point guard who's going to be a backup? And they have Josh Hart, who I think can be a quality number 3 for you. So unless you're going to shop Lonzo Ball, I don't think it makes sense for the Pelicans to target another point guard or even a combo guard hybrid. It makes far more sense to instead target a small forward or a wing player to help give you some depth behind Brandon Ingram, because you have Etuan Moore and Solomon Hill. That's not a lot of great options there. So I know the Suns reporter says Coby White there. I'm not going to buy that one. That one just screams smokescreen. And of course, it does come from the Suns side of things. So I don't think that's the most likely outcome there for the New Orleans Pelicans. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Who should the Pelicans draft at number 4 overall? I kind of think Jarrett Culver would be a really good fit for them. If they keep that pick, if they don't trade it, I like Culver quite a bit. Can kind of be that combo guard forward. Really, I think can play 1 through 3, maybe even some 4 if you need him to. I think that makes a lot of sense there for the Pelicans. Let's move then to a potential NBA draft slider. That is Bol Bol, who the talent is no doubt there. The upside is absolutely high. But there are some concerns right now around Bol Bol. For number 1, his combine weight was 26 pounds lower than what it was in college, in large part because he missed time with the foot injury. And oh, by the way, 7'2" big men with a foot injury, that's kind of a red flag in and of itself. Now you tack on, he's 208 pounds. There was the report from The Athletic that some scouts are concerned about his work ethic as well. Look, the upside with Bol Bol is beyond lottery. It's frankly top 5 there. I mean, you don't find 7'2", 200-plus pound big men, even if it's maybe more 230 ideally, at least for now, and get up even higher than that, who can shoot the three so well. But there's a real fear that Bol Bol isn't going to develop in the way that teams want because of the injuries there. That's a big red flag. So will Bol Bol be a lottery pick this year? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I'm going to go with no right now. I know the upside is certainly there. Maybe a team at the back half takes a flyer. Maybe like the Celtics, for example, could take that risk there with multiple first-round picks. I think he goes just outside the lottery. But either way, he's going to be a player that you have to watch really to see how he develops. Of course, you'll find out where Bol Bol goes during the NBA Draft live on Chat Sports, youtube.com/chatsportstv. That's the link right there. Of course, you're watching on YouTube right now, so just hit the big subscribe button there. We'll be live for every pick of the NBA Draft, draft grades afterwards, of course, as well. And hey, let's get on a secret. We'll have the picks in before the major networks do. So make sure you watch the NBA Draft on Chat Sports. Move then to the Washington Wizards. They've worked out 2 players. You mentioned Coby White earlier. He's one of them. They've also worked out NASSIR Little, which I find interesting. I also make note that Kevin Porter Jr., the USC kid, was supposed to be in this workout group. That is no longer the case for Washington. And for the Wizards, look, just take the best player on the board because you got, I think, one legitimate building block piece. That is Bradley Beal on your current roster. Dwight Howard is not a long-term fit. Jabari Parker is... Well, he's Jabari Parker. Bobby Portis is a fine player, but he's not a legitimate building block. And Thomas Satoransky played well. He's an RFA like Jeff Green is. John Wall will hopefully eventually come back, but you can't bank on him right now. So if you're the Wizards, just take the best player available. And if Coby White happens to fall to you, I do think he's the best available player. I think he'd be a good enough fit alongside Bradley Beal. Maybe you shot Bradley Beal as well at some point, be it this year, next year, or whenever. And if Coby White's off the board, maybe you do just swing for the fences with NASSIR Little. Look, NASSIR did not play very well at UNC. That is an undeniable fact. He did not fit in with that team, had a very disappointing year. But the upside is still there. And if you're the Wizards, what makes more sense? Taking kind of a safer, maybe it's a big man type pick there, or do you just go big and try to hope that you struck gold with NASSIR Little? His upside is certainly higher than the number 9 overall pick typically is. So maybe that's a worthwhile investment there if you're the Wizards. But who should they draft at number 9 overall? Let me know in the comments section. If NASSIR Little is there, I think ideally Cam Reddish should be their best fit. I don't think he's going to fall to them. But if Little is there, maybe you consider, or at least maybe you look into a trade down to acquire more assets for, be it this year, next year, whatever, because the Wizards, I'm sorry guys, it's kind of a rebuilding period. Let's move to the Chicago Bulls. Sekou Doumbouya here had a, quote, outstanding workout with the Bulls, and he is actually under consideration for the 7th overall pick. Super raw prospect, really high upside though. He'd likely play plenty of small forward for the Bulls, and it's an interesting fit, at least from my perspective, because you have Wendell Carter, you have Lauri Markkanen, and there's been some speculation, not rumors, on his future. The Bulls would be dumb to trade him away, frankly. And then you have Otto Porter, so maybe you flip Porter, but with Doumbouya on your roster, you kind of got a lot of forwards. And I know it's a positionless game, and you have Levine too, but you don't have a lot of guards there. So the upside, I think, is intriguing there for Chicago. I just have at least a little bit of concern about how he actually fits with this current Bulls roster. Of course, if you're Chicago, maybe you are just aiming high, trying to find the best upside, best or most untapped talent that you can, just to help your team out long-term as you grow. But folks, who should the Bulls draft this year? Let me know in the comments section. I did not put the pick here, by the way, because I did leave open the option for you guys to pick players that the Bulls could trade up for, be it a Darius Garland or even a Coby White. Maybe White falls to anyway at number 7. Let me know what you guys think, though, in the comments section. Move to the Miami Heat. There's some buzz from the Sun Sentinel that the speculation around the NBA is that the Heat could trade the number 13 overall pick to help clear some salary, which I find interesting. They did mention Dion Waiters and James Johnson as well, but for Miami, I don't know if trading the number 13 overall pick is the best way to go. Yeah, you do at some point want to move some of these contracts here. Hassan Whiteside, one more year at $27 million. Brutal. Goran Dragic just opted in, but he at least has some value, even if it is at $19 million. James Johnson, Kelly Olynyk, 15 plus, 12 plus there. And then Dion Waiters, those last two guys all have 2 years left on his deal, and those numbers being their cap hits this season. But here's my mindset for Miami, is I know you want to clear cap at some point to help kind of reshape your roster, but isn't that 13th overall pick at least have some value? Do you really just want to salary dump it when you're not really going to be able to find a way to bring on another player in free agency? So for Miami, maybe it makes some sense. I'd be a little surprised, frankly disappointed if that's what the Heat decided to go. One last rumor here, that is on the Boston Celtics. Could they actually keep all 3 of their NBA draft picks this year? They have number 14, 20, and number 22. Now, the Boston Herald does report that, or excuse me, NBC Sports does report, out of Boston, does report that the Celtics want to acquire future draft capital to keep open the flexibility for the next time a disgruntled star wants to be traded. Of course, they've missed on Anthony Davis there. But maybe Boston says, you know what, we didn't trade it for Anthony Davis. Maybe they just spend those picks on high upside guys. And there is some room on the bench right now, especially if you lose Terry Rozier, who is an RFA. You keep those your first 5 guys there. Ojale, Yabusele, Baines, Williams, you probably want more guards and wings there. Maybe take a flyer on a Bol Bol, for example. Maybe you try and take some high upside, high risk reward type scenarios in an attempt to find that next young piece to help out your roster. The Celtics have, with 3 first-round picks and, frankly, a pretty good young core in place, Boston can be more aggressive than other teams if they keep those 3 draft picks, even just keep 2 of them. Now, here's my question to you. Will the Celtics keep all 3 of their first-round picks this year? Type 3 for yes, type 2 if you think it's going to be less than 3 for no. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section.